I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
I'm singing! I'm in a store and I'm singing! I'm in a store and I'm singing!
Hey! There's no singing in the North Pole.
Yes, there is!
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
What happened? I don't know who's in there, but somebody just got blown away. Huh?
Aren't you the Prime Minister?
Yes. In fact, I am. Merry Christmas.
Oh.
Part of the service now. Trying to get round everyone by New Year's Eve.
You see, Mrs. Walker, this is quite an opportunity for me. For the past 50 years or so, I've been getting more and more worried about Christmas. Seems we're all so busy trying to beat the other fellow in making things go faster and look shinier and cost less that Christmas and I are sort of getting lost in the shuffle.
Oh, I don't think so. Christmas is still Christmas.
Oh, Christmas isn't just a day. It's a frame of mind.
Ho, ho, ho. All right. Welcome back, everyone, to episode number 44 of the Best Thing We've Seen podcast, a Christmas special. My name is Flo.
And I'm Gabe, and I'm very much excited for this special. There's a whole lot of stuff we can talk about, and I think it's going to be the most unpredictable special ever.
Yes, that is definitely the case. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I have some wisdom teeth problems, maybe.
Right. Maybe.
But that's a dentist's problem, probably in January, because I'm a bad procrastinator, and it's very shortly before the holidays. So, yeah, let's just push it to the next year, you know?
Just keep on eating sweets.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Dude, I have like a kilogram, that's like 2 pounds of fucking chocolate in my home.
Yeah.
And I don't want this shit.
You sure it's a wisdom tooth problem now?
I haven't eaten pretty much anything of any of those things. But
okay.
Yeah, if you want some, come by.
Yeah. we'll link the
link the address below.
Yeah, it's in the description. Are you in the Christmas spirit yet?
Not at all. I mean, the
even
films.
Yeah, I was going to say, you prepared for this special, I would assume?
It helped a bit, but watching these films and all those American films with so much Christmas cheer and everything made me aware that I don't really give a fuck about Christmas anymore.
What?
I think I've outgrown
horrible start of this,
I know.
this episode.
No, but this is perfect. I can speak for the people who kind of done with Christmas but still want kind of a good time.
Because they'll be listening to this.
Yeah, sure. Because it's still us, you know. The hardcore fan base is always going to be here.
Well, I would assume that they enjoy Christmas too. I mean, if they don't enjoy Christmas, I don't think they're going to click on the Christmas special. You know what I mean?
I'm going to make them.
Okay, that's good to know. So, obviously, this is a new territory for us because it's a special episode, but we usually talk about a person's career. We've done actors every time. We've been meaning to do directors, but, we just haven't gotten around to that yet. And Gabe came up with the idea of making episode 44 a Christmas special, which is well-timed because I think this episode drops on December 14th, I believe.
Yeah.
So 10 days before Christmas. I was like, that's a great idea. Let's do that. And basically, we haven't talked about the criteria at all. So it's going to be so interesting to see what you picked because obviously we could pick movies, we could pick shows, we could pick YouTube videos. But when we talk about a person's career, there's like a limited amount of things we can choose from. So I know what to expect. Mm-hmm. But now it's like such a wide topic. We could have 10 completely different things. I mean, probably not, but
Yeah, I have like 2 things on my list that kind of loosely fit the bill for a Christmas thing.
Okay.
But I think it's going to be fine.
Yeah, I had the same problem because when you define a Christmas movie or show, many things are set during the Christmas time, but are not actually about Christmas.
I think it kind of counts if it incorporates a couple of classic Christmas things like people saying Merry Christmas. And kinda,
The classic
Christmas
thing, people saying Merry
Christmas kind of playing a bit of a role, and people kind of acting as if it is Christmas. You know?
Right. It's interesting because I some of the things on my list are not necessarily about Christmas, but they're set during the Christmas time. But other movies are like also set during the Christmas time, but I neglected them completely. It's just very inconsistent, my my picks. But I just went with what I felt was right.
Yeah,
a lot of good things on my list. I'm excited to talk about.
Yeah, I'm so unsure what is going to be on your list. I think there are like 2 or 3 things that are definitely going to be on your list, but other than that, I have no idea. And I think our lists are going to diverge very, very much more than ever before.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, as you can probably guess, I mean, what we want to do with this is just give you something to watch during the Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll talk about some things that you haven't heard of before, and maybe we'll talk about things that you've been meaning to watch but haven't gotten around to it. And
or some things you weren't aware were actually Christmas things.
Right, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, anything else before we get right into it?
I don't know. Maybe just explain what we're gonna do today.
Yeah, please do.
And other than that, I think we can just go right ahead.
Do you wanna explain how the show works?
Yeah, sure. So on our special episodes, we discuss the top 10 things, usually from a person's career, but this time we are gonna do this around a Christmas theme. And we're going to count down to our best thing that we've seen that fits that category. And since we're doing a top 10 list, we're going to count down from 10. And if Flo, for example, has something on his number 10 spot and I have it on my number, let's say 4 spot, we might postpone the discussion for later. Otherwise, if it's like a 7 on his list and a 5 on mine, we're going to do the discussion right then and there and discuss why it's on our list and what makes it so special. And of course, like always, we don't know what the other person's pick is going to be.
Right.
Which makes it so interesting. And with that said, I think we can just go right ahead, right?
Yes. I just want to say before, like, I've been meaning to like include other things, not just movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about this, like, because like almost every TV show has Christmas episodes.
Yeah.
So I thought about including them, but we'll get to it when we get to it. But it's just like, I had a tough time of like, because there's certain scenes in TV shows or in TV episodes that I enjoyed, but I would never rank them above a whole movie. So I was struggling with that. But we'll get to the picks now, and then we can discuss it when we get to it. But I think it's your turn to start.
Yeah, I think so too. And my number 10 spot is...
Here we go. It is time. Get in the spirit.
My number 10 spot is... I tried to go for some Christmas classics, right? And with this film, I wasn't actually sure if it was a Christmas film.
Okay.
And I'm
Is it
still
Halloween?
not sure after... No, it's not. Close, but no. After I've seen it, I wasn't sure as well, because the film I picked is It's a Wonderful Life. It's quite an old film.
Well, that's higher for me. That's way higher for me.
All right.
What do you mean? That's definite. That's one of the Christmas classics.
I know, but like the opening credits also kind of start off with the credits like being on a background with like Christmas trees and everything. But it's actually just Christmas in like the last 30 minutes of the movie, which I don't know if it counts.
But that is exactly the point that I was making before, because that is one of those movies that is not necessarily about Christmas, but it is set during the Christmas time, and apparently it's one of the Christmas classics. Like everyone's putting that on their list.
Yeah, I mean, but it's so little just about Christmas itself, I guess. And,
I agree. We'll get to it later.
Everything else on my list is so much more Christmassy, I guess. But it's still a good movie. But yeah, let's go to your number 10.
It's incredibly low that placement, I gotta say.
That's why it's my number 10. I think I would have put it higher.
I understand. I understand.
All right, what's your number 10?
All right, my number 10 spot. Let's start off with some romance.
Right.
All right. I'm going to pick While You Were Sleeping as my number 10.
I did not see this one, I think.
You think?
I think maybe some time ago, but I don't remember.
Okay. So, While You Were Sleeping, it's Sandra Bullock. I think this movie came out in 1995.
Right, that's the one. Sorry, I meant to watch it, but I didn't get to. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sandra Bullock, Bill Pullman, Peter Gallagher, and what's the guy's name? Jack Warren, I think. And he's the guy from. Hold on one second. He's the guy from 12. Oh God, come on. What's the Jura movie?
12 Angry Men.
Yes, I think that's him, right? But hold on, I got his name wrong. Perfect Start.
12 Angry Men is quite an old film, isn't it?
Yeah, Jack Warden. Yeah, that's right, Jack Warden. He plays a part in While You Were Sleeping as well. Great actor. And anyway, While You Were Sleeping, I mean, it's just it is basically a romance set during Christmas, and it's about Sandra Bullock. She works at the what is that called? Like the subway, or it's not like a subway because it's in Chicago and it's like above the ground.
All right, the
it's
above
like
ground
some
subway
sort of train or something. She sits in the booth and sort of lets people through, and she falls in love with a guy who's like she sees him every day when he passes her when he gets on the train, and she sort of falls in love with him, but he doesn't really recognize. He doesn't even like see her.
Mm-hmm.
And one day he falls off he gets pushed off the platform and onto the tracks, and he falls unconscious. But then Sandra Bullock saves him from the train and brings him to the hospital where he's in a coma now. But while she's in the hospital, she can't like get access to him because she's not related to him.
Sounds
So
very creepy.
No, it's not. That she pretends to be his wife so that she can like sit next to him and sort of care for him. But then his family get there, and then she's sort of introduced to them as his fiance or wife, and I think fiance. But she sort of then goes along with it because it's just all gone too quick, and she wants to get out of it, but then she doesn't want to like ruin it because they're all so happy that she's there and that he found someone and blah blah blah. And then basically during the whole time when he's in the coma, she gets to meet his brother as well, and she might fall in love with him too. But this is a very, very sweet movie, and really, really great chemistry between Sandra Bullock and Bill Pullman. I thought this was a very like genuine relationship that I felt was not like these typical movie romances, but a very believable one. And I thought Bullock was really, really good in this. It's another one of those early Bullock films, like Murder by Numbers, which we discussed on the Gosling special. Like these early 90s or late 90s Sandra Bullock movies that I haven't seen a lot of, but I'm sort of now filling the gaps a little bit. And While You Were Sleeping is really a great movie. And it's obviously set during Christmas time. I mean, they're celebrating Christmas together, and it's very, very sweet, not just the chemistry between Bullock and Pullman, but also like her, like the whole family sort of accepting her. But then she has that lie that she doesn't want them to know of, you know?
Now I regret not watching it, but on this Christmas special, I've had so many films written down that I wanted to watch, and sadly I didn't get to it.
How many did you watch? 25?
Not as much as I usually do, because I had some stuff to do for uni and other stuff, but
yeah,
still a bunch.
I haven't gotten around to much, and there's a lot of omissions on my list as well that I haven't seen. I'm sure. I mean, I know a couple of them will make your list, but I tried to watch those that I felt like had a good shot of making my list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and those were a couple, and I got to rewatch two things as well, and well, that's my number 10. While You Were Sleeping. It's a good movie.
Well, my number 9 is another Christmas classic, which I hadn't seen before, or at least before this week, which is Miracle on 34th Street. And that's, I mean, the old one, because I think there's been at least one, maybe two remakes of this film.
Yes. I think this is from the 40s, right?
Yeah, it's like 1947, I think.
This is one of those omissions, a perfect timing. I have not watched this.
Well, Miracle on 34th Street is one of those classic Christmas movies, and I've seen it all over the place as like one of the classic Christmas movies of all time. And so I was like, all right, let's watch it. Who knows if it's gonna make my list? It seemed quite, I don't know, over the top and very, you know, those old films can get quite, what's the word?
Cheesy.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
And but I was surprised. It was actually quite sweet. And it's about a about a man who claims to be Santa Claus who accidentally becomes a mall Santa. And then...
How do you accidentally become a mall Santa?
Well, he walks around during the Macy's parade.
Right.
And the Santa on that parade is completely drunk. And he walks up to the person organizing the whole thing and tells her about the Santa. She's like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And, all right, well, you, sir, you look exactly like Santa Claus, right? You have the big beard, you have the big belly. You want to have a go? And he said, no, I don't want to. So, well, come on, think of the kids. And that's what gets him. So, all right, he agrees, and then he starts working at the mall. And the problem with that is everybody likes him. They love him. The kids love him, and even the sales people at Macy's, where he works as a Christmas Santa, love him because he's just so good with the customers. But then the kind of problem arises of him claiming that he's Santa and everybody thinking that he's just batshit crazy.
Right.
And then it turns into this, well, what is he really? And him trying to kind of spread Christmas cheer, and the woman who hires him and her daughter are quite irrational people. And he kind of tries to reignite Christmas spirit by convincing them that he's Santa. And that whole kind of thing with, is he insane, isn't he insane, gets kind of blown up and even makes it to court in this film.
Right. Yes, that's right. Because I Googled courtroom dramas like quite a few months ago, and that one came up, yeah.
And so I think you would have enjoyed this as well, but it's very sweet. Santa gets quite creepy in this film, if you ask me.
It's quite sweet. Santa gets quite creepy in this film.
Yeah, he's kind of creepy with the children.
Run out to watch this movie, kids.
I just hope I don't read any very weird trivia about the main actor in this film.
Yeah.
But apart from that, maybe it's just how people were in the 1940s. It's just kind of cool to
what
get
a weird generalization that is. Maybe that's just how they were.
I don't know. Well, but all in all, it's just a kind of cool glimpse at what people kind of saw or thought about Christmas in the 1940s, what a Christmas movie looks like in the 1940s. The whole thing about is he insane and the whole courtroom thing is just such a fun thing and something I wouldn't have expected from a Christmas film.
Right.
Which makes it so original and cool and really worth checking out.
I mean, you got two like very like cineastic picks.
Yeah. Already.
That's not a word though. Cinephile picks. Like It's a Wonderful Life and Miracle on 34th Street. Like those are like, what's the word? Like
cinephile.
Right, but yeah, I mean those are like, sure, let's call it that. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's still a couple to come. So just Christmas films have.
Yeah.
There's so many of them, and there's so many good ones as well. So.
Yeah.
All right. What's your number 9?
My number 9 is Arthur Christmas.
This did not make my list.
All right. It was it close or you didn't like it?
Honestly, I didn't even think about it. I saw it a couple of years ago and I thought, all right, this is a fun film, but I didn't even think about including it on my list because there are just so many other things that I had to pick from.
Right. Well, I enjoyed this quite a bit. I watched this for the show, and I mean, it stars James McAvoy. First of all, it's got a great cast, like many of the animation movies these days do. Of the animated movies, I should say. James McAvoy, you got Hugh Laurie, you got Jim Broadbent, and Bill Nighy as the Grand Santa. And it's about James McAvoy playing Arthur Christmas, and he's the son, one of two sons of Santa, the other one being played by Hugh Laurie. And Santa's like, I think he's done his 70th mission of like delivering all the presents to the kids. And Hugh Laurie's character is sort of expecting to take over. And Santa is just like, no, I want to keep going. And Arthur is like, he's placed in the letters department and he has no like ambitions of becoming Santa. And he's just like looking up to his dad and loves Christmas. And the movie's basically about them like delivering all the presents, but then one present gets left behind. And it's Gwen's present from Cornwall in England. And yeah, they're all like, yeah, well, we can't do anything now. And Arthur is devastated because one kid in the world is going to wake up and think that she she did something wrong because she's the only kid in the world who didn't get a present from Santa. And then it's basically about him trying to find a way to deliver that present. And it's just, this is, you can't get more Christmassy than this movie. I mean, it's not only just, it's basically, it is about Santa and his son and just sort of delivering presents in the Christmas spirit. And very sweet, very funny at times. I love the side character. There's like an elf who travels with him. She's like she's a master gift wrapper, and she has like a Scottish accent, which I thought was just so funny. Because obviously all of the people are British. I'm now thinking if they do like a British accent. I'm always like so bad with this, like thinking back, like did they do a British accent? I would assume so because every actor of them is British. But it's just very sweet, great visuals, and I was really surprised by this. I mean, I had heard how good it was, like because it was on everyone's list. I like Googled best Christmas movies, and this was on everyone's list, and I was happy that I checked it out. It's really good.
Yeah, I think especially as far as Christmas animation films go, this is a good film.
I mean, are there many current like Christmas probably, right? I mean, I'm not
and know about at least one more,
right? Which I assume we'll get to.
I would assume so.
Oh yeah, I looked at my list. I know, yeah.
All right.
But I'm trying to think now. Like, so you saw it a couple of years ago. You said Arthur Christmas.
Yeah, like 1 or 2 years ago, I think. Long enough that I don't remember. I don't know. Well, there's so many like best Christmas film lists, right? Sure. So I went through a couple of those and like just from memory, tried to remember some, and I think I came across Arthur at one point and was like, all right, I did like it, but yeah, like I said, there are just so many cool things that I already had to pick from, and I think it's an honorable mention. But plus also, since it's been a couple of years, I don't remember everything about it, so yeah, I don't know.
I mean, this is really just like a movie for you could watch anytime with anyone. It's for everyone, and I loved the way they like. I didn't necessarily love like the ending is very abrupt. It's sort of like that thing happens and now thank you for watching basically.
Yeah.
But I loved the like at the end there's like certain cards coming up with like a little bit of text explaining like what everyone is doing now, and the very last card is very smart writing. So I enjoyed that movie. Like it made me smile. What's your number 9?
Remember.
My number
8. My number 8 is a film that I'm not sure if it's going to make your list.
Is it going to be one of those 20s or 30s Christmas classics?
No, I think I'm done with those. No, it's How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Ron Howard.
Is that the Jim Carrey one?
Jim Carrey, that's right.
Yeah, it's not on my list.
All right. Did you even watch it?
No.
All right.
I tried to not say that I didn't watch it, but now you asked, I didn't even watch it.
Well, I watched this a couple of years ago, and I was so surprised by how much I liked it. And there are a whole lot of adult jokes hidden in the film, but that was so surprising to me.
Is that the only Grinch movie that's going to be on your list?
Yeah,
I was expecting the other one.
One animated one, yeah.
Right.
I didn't see it. I didn't hear a lot of good things, and there's of course the old ones, the classics, because the story is, of course, based on Dr. Seuss, who was a famous children's writer from the 40s, 50s, 60s. And he's very famous for his weird kind of characters and his rhyming, most of all, I think, he's known for. And he also did Horton Hears a Who and other classics that I can't think of right now, the Cat in the Hat and others. And since his illustration style, or the style usually used for his stories, is so unique and so special, it's kind of weird to kind of think of it to make a live action adaptation out of this. But it actually kind of works, and although it looks kind of weird at times, it's just so charming and sweet. And there's, like I said, a couple of adult jokes kind of hidden in the film, like a swinger party going on.
Sure.
And yeah, there's just so much to like about this film. Just Jim Carrey, of course, just being Jim Carrey, being born for this role pretty much.
Yeah.
And it is a Christmas film, and if you don't know what The Grinch is about, I think everybody knows by now, but The Grinch is the classic kind of green furry guy who hates Christmas. That's why one says you're a Christmas Grinch or something like that. if you hate Christmas, and there's
Which you are.
Oh, well, I don't hate. Well, I'm talking about Christmas films, aren't I?
No, but you said at the beginning of the show you don't give a fuck about Christmas. That's a quote.
Well,
That's a direct quote.
Outgrown it.
Play the
maybe.
tape.
Don't
I don't want to edit that. I don't want to edit too much editing.
You're gonna put a remix of it in here. That I don't really give a fuck about Christmas anymore. But there's this town below, and they always celebrate Christmas, and they're very much into consumerism and buy way too much stuff. And he hates them because he kind of receives all the fucking garbage, and he kind of loves the garbage. He lives in the garbage, and he's like this monster, and people like to leave him alone. But there's this little kid who accidentally meets the Grinch, and every time of year there's this celebration, and there's like a Christmas person being crowned who needs the most Christmas spirit, and she nominates the Grinch. And it's about this little girl still believing in the Grinch and how he became who he is. And there's just a lot of fun to be had in this film. And like I said, Jim Carrey stars in it. And also, I always forget his name, and I'm so sorry because I love this actor so much. He plays the dad.
Jeffrey Tambor.
Thank you so much. He plays the dad. Jeffrey Tambor is the dad in Arrested
Transparent?
Development, in Transparent, and also he plays in The Death of Stalin, which I love. But yeah, I think How the Grinch Stole Christmas is one of those Christmas classics, and I think it really deserves its spot as a Christmas classic. It's just so fun to watch and so cool because, like I said, the illustration style and how everything is made is so special in the original Dr. Seuss stories, and I think they really did a great job just translating that into a live action adaptation. And where it kind of plays is on a snowflake. So the thing is, it opens up with zooming into a snowflake closer and closer, and kind of proposing this theory that on every snowflake there's like this whole civilization celebrating Christmas.
Right.
And yeah, do check it out. I think it's very much worth it.
Yeah, I messed up at the beginning because I thought there was a different animated version, because obviously there was one 2 years ago with Cumberbatch, which was supposed to be pretty bad. But I'm looking this up now. I mean, there's like 60s and 70s versions of the Grinch.
Those are like the original cartoons.
Right. And then obviously the one you're talking about is from 2000.
Yeah.
So
and
I don't know what I was talking about there.
I watched a couple of clips of the old ones.
Yeah.
Of the old cartoons, and was surprised of how similar they are. Like, apparently a whole lot of the dialogue in the cartoons and in this live action remake are pretty much word for word translations or adaptations of the book, which is cool because, like I said, the Dr. Seuss style rhyming is very much kind of part of those stories, and I think it adds this extra layer of charm.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
Well, there's still time.
Yeah. Is there though? Oh yeah.
Well, Christmas in like 2 weeks.
Yeah. There's actually like a couple of things that I didn't get around to that I'm thinking like, should I watch this now? I mean, I watched like a couple of Christmas things now, and I don't know if I like, I feel
there's just so many Christmas films. Every year there's like 5 new ones.
My number 8, I don't think it's going to be on your list, is Elf.
It's not.
Yeah. You don't like this one, do you?
I don't.
Yeah. This is, and I was thinking about this. I think this is maybe my favorite Will Ferrell. I always forget his name. I always don't forget it, but is it Ferrell or Ferrell? It's
Will
Ferrell, right?
Ferrell.
I always want to say Pharrell, but that's Pharrell Williams. Whatever.
I'll call him Pharrell.
Right. Will Ferrell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my favorite Will Ferrell movie is Stranger Than Fiction, but in terms of like his more slapstick comedies, I think Elf is the one for me. And I watched this, I think last year or maybe 2 years ago, and I really bought into it. I mean, just the premise alone is funny to me. I mean, it's this dude who grows up on the North Pole, right? And is bigger than any elves there, because he's obviously not really one of Santa's kids, but I forgot now how he got there. In sort of like
he crawled into the Christmas
bag. Yeah, something like, yeah. But after 30 years, he still thinks he's one of the elves. He just doesn't really, I don't know, like, it never comes up that, or he never really thinks of his height as like an issue, or like he never thinks that's a bit weird that he's the only one who's like so much taller than everyone else. But then Bob Newhart sort of tells him that he's not an elf, or maybe it's Santa, I don't remember now. But Bob Newhart is great. He's sort of the narrator of the film, and then he gets to move to the real world and sort of get to meet his real father, who's played by
James Caan.
James Caan. That came quick. Appreciate that. Is that a Godfather thing, or I don't know?
Kind of.
Okay. Yeah, and Peter Dinklage is in this. I was Tyrion Lannister,
Right.
And Will Ferrell thinks that's an elf.
That scene was actually very funny.
It was very funny, yeah. And he meets Zooey Deschanel's character and falls in love with her. Thinks of her as like an angel because she's of her singing voice, and she's just very beautiful. And he falls in love with her, and yeah. And then I think it's sort of also about like bringing back the Christmas spirit, because Santa's sleigh doesn't work anymore because people don't believe in Christmas anymore. And then it's sort of Will's job together with his friends to sort of reignite the Christmas spirit. It's such a stupid movie. It really is. But for whatever reason, this is the one that worked for me. And his sort of childlike portrayal of this mid-30s elf, or however old he's supposed to be. And, well, he's not even an elf, but, you know, he thinks he is. And it's sort of this childlike wonder that he has when he's discovering new things in the city. And, I mean, it's just, or when I think he works in sort of like some sort of like a mall, where he meets Zooey Deschanel, and they're obviously like all dressed up in Christmas gear. And one day Santa comes along. His boss is sort of telling him Santa's coming. Can't believe it. Starts screaming on top of his lungs, Santa's coming. And it's just very, I like this movie. And I was, it got me at the end as well. I think it's very, I don't know, it worked for me. It really did. That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of it. I don't want to be my negative self. I don't think it fits with the Christmas spirit of this episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a fun Christmas film. I guess it's not for me. But interestingly enough, it's also by Jon Favreau, who we've talked about before. He's the creator of The Mandalorian.
Yes. I mean, I think he also stars in this movie. I think he is... Or am I mixing this up?
I watched it recently. Maybe he has a cameo, but not a big role, as far as I'm aware.
Maybe,
I watched this a little over a week ago.
Isn't he like a doctor or something?
Maybe. Yeah, he does go to the doctor. I don't remember, though. I just remember Will Ferrell eating cotton balls.
Yeah, he is the doctor in Elf. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right. What's your 8?
7.
7.
All right. My 7 is something different. Something that we've never had before, and it's just one episode.
Yeah,
it's a Christmas special episode. It's not. I didn't even think of Community.
Oh,
What's
okay.
the stop motion Community episode?
I have not seen it. I just know that there's a lot of great Community episodes.
Right. Anyway, it's South Park Woodland Critter Christmas. And now I've wrote some things down, all right? Just to kind of pitch you this episode, what it's got, right? What it has going for it.
Dude, good luck pitching me a South Park episode.
All right. Well, it's got all the classic Christmas elements, right? It's got some Dr. Seuss style rhyming.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt. Have you seen Stefan, SNL? Bill Hader?
Right.
It's got all the right things. It's got... Do you remember that?
I don't know.
Come on, it's a great reference I'm making here.
I'm sorry, it's been so long since I've seen this.
No, it's fine. Sorry, go on.
All right, well, it's got all Christmas elements like Dr. Seuss style rhyming, just like the Grinch. It's got a story about family. It's got Santa Claus in it. It's got some murder or matricide in it. It's got some abortion in it. It's got orgies in it. It's got the looming apocalypse. Just what more do you want from a Christmas episode? There's so many good things, and it's just about
Stan. It's only like 20 minutes, I assume, right?
Yeah, just 20 minutes of fun. And yeah, it's about one of the 4 main characters in South Park is Stan, and he walks around the woods with his sleigh, and he discovers a couple of woodland critters. So a couple of small animals, like there's a small bear, and there's a porcupine, and a squirrel, and a bird, and whatever. And they all got funny names like Porky the porcupine, Rabbit Eat a Rabbit, etc. Like, very sweet. And it's got some narration over it. Talking in rhymes. And
In Dr. Seuss rhymes.
yeah, kind of, yeah. And he meets those little critters and they talk to him. They're like, well, they need his help, right? Because they have this big Christmas tree, but they don't have a star. If he can make them a star, so he can put it on the Christmas tree. And so, all right, he does it. And then they come to him and like tell him, Porky the porcupine is pregnant. And he's like, all right, but what is he supposed to do with? Well, you don't understand. It's an immaculate inception. She's a virgin, right? She's going to give birth to the Lord and Savior. So he has to build him a Christmas manger, like for little Jesus. And then he has to do some other things. And then he kind of sees what the plan of those critters really is. And it's one of the most fucked up things ever. I promise you, just watch it. And I had to laugh out loud so much when I first saw this. And it's still hilarious because it's the most fucked up, stupid thing you can put in kind of a story that starts off as a children's Christmas story. Just watch it. It's worth it.
What is it called again?
Yeah. South Park Woodland Critter Christmas.
Right. Okay.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Give it a go.
Yeah. I'm going to say I will, but I just don't like South Park.
I don't get it. I think South Park is just one of the greatest animated shows ever.
I'm just not that animated. I'm just not that big of an animated fan. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't know. If you don't like cartoons in itself, I kind of get it. But South Park is just its own thing in itself. You know what I mean?
I do. And I agree. It's just never got me. I don't know why.
Well, if you like South Park or haven't watched a lot of it, give it a go.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I said that I don't like animated movies, but my number 7 is one, and it's Klaus.
Yeah, I was waiting for that to make a.
Yeah, you didn't like that either, right? I remember that.
I thought it was all right. I thought it was a nice film, but I didn't like the ending, and I didn't get with the hype.
Was fantastic.
Yeah, like people say that and like say it's like the new instant Christmas classic. I didn't feel that way. I absolutely love the animation style, and I would love to see something like that again. And that's what drew me in the first time. But yeah, it wasn't for me. But you go ahead.
I remember, I saw this, it must have been last year, right? This came out last year?
December 2019, yeah.
Yeah. And
did we talk about it on the podcast before?
No. We talked about it on our end of year list.
Oh, right. That was it.
But I absolutely loved this movie back then, and I haven't watched it since, and I didn't rewatch it now either. So a lot of the things that I forgot a lot of things about it now, but I just know that I loved it so much when I saw it the first time. Well, I've only seen it once, but it's the story about a postman who sort of meets a guy who's far off into the woods making his toys, and then sort of motivating him to gift those toys to the kids in the town. Not just in the town, but like all over the place. And Klaus is played by, but it's voiced by J.K. Simmons, who, just one of the great voices. I think I've talked about this before. And the main character is voiced by Jason Schwartzman, who I know you like, the Wes Anderson favorite. And it's very hard for me to talk about this movie because I really want people to experience that without knowing much about it. I don't know what, I really love the ending. I don't know why you didn't like the ending. I thought it was such a beautiful way to wrap up that story. I think sort of incorporating that whole Christmas spirit thing that we still have nowadays. I thought it was beautiful.
I think not just the ending itself, but like the whole like last 20 minutes. I think it felt kind of off, and something you said with Arthur, it just felt too abrupt.
Yeah, let's agree to disagree, but that's
sure.
That's what we do.
I think I very much have the unpopular opinion here, and most people that I've talked to absolutely loved it. So don't listen to me. Give it a shot. Maybe you'll love it.
Yeah, I think also Rashida Jones plays a part in this. She voices like the woman who I think doesn't she like work with fish, but then she's a teacher. She becomes a teacher, but I think
Is it Rashida Jones? Yeah,
I
it's
think
like
it's
the
Rashida
butcher.
Jones. Yeah, I think you're right.
The
I think
butcher.
Butcher, maybe. Yeah, but then she sort of
She
turns into a teacher.
No, I think she used to be the
She used to
teacher,
be a teacher.
but now she can't be because the town is all fucked up because like because of the family feud going on there.
Right, but then throughout the movie, sort of she more and more gets back to teaching, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so. Yeah, you're right, Rashida Jones, dude. And the film's got a 8.2, and I know ratings don't mean anything, but it's very high for such a new film, especially. It's in the top 250 films on IMDb. Jesus
there
Christ.
you go. I just I remember loving it, and I want to rewatch it again. Not this year. I feel like I didn't have the urge to rewatch it again this year, but in a couple of years, I really want to rewatch it again, and I know that I will love it again. It's just this is one of those movies on my list today that I won't be able to, or that I'm not going to talk about that much because I want people to experience it without knowing much about it.
Yeah, and I think just for the animation style alone, it's worth checking out because it's drawn in 2D, but then put into it was animated in 3D and then kind of put over a kind of a 2D filter.
No,
the other way around.
The other way around.
It was drawn.
2D,
right.
yeah.
It was drawn and then kind of put into like this 3D filter kind of thing, and it makes it look so cool, like a book has come to life, and it's so beautiful.
Right, and this is a Netflix film, I believe.
Yeah, it's an original. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Look for it on Netflix.
Yeah, I would have loved to have rewatched it just to see if my opinion had changed, but yeah, didn't get to it.
What's your 6?
My number 6 is a film which I don't know if it's going to be on your list, but just I have to start this off by saying this was one of my favorite cinema experiences of all time.
Hold on a second. All right, don't say it. Was I involved in that?
You were.
Okay, go on.
The Night Before. Is this on your list?
I'm so honored that was one of your favorite experiences. I had no idea. It's not on my list now.
Well, there's this very great dinner scene, and I don't remember an audience laughing this much, and I don't remember laughing myself this much in the cinema ever again, like I did with The Night Before.
Really?
Yeah, it was just maybe it's just the way I remember it, but I had a blast.
A dinner scene? I don't even remember this.
With the phone?
I just remember that scene in the church. It's
Right,
like,
but
Jesus fucking Christ, isn't that like the joke?
Of course, yeah, but with Seth Rogen like having the phone and getting a couple of text messages.
Was it the dick pics?
Yeah, right.
But see, I genuinely don't remember more than what I just said. I just
right.
remember that it was
well,
was
let's
James
not say too much, I
Franco's?
guess. Let's not say too much because
Isn't that in the trailer?
I don't know. I never watch a trailer.
Well, you sometimes do retroactively. Is that the right word there?
I guess.
After you saw the movie?
Dude, this reminds me, I saw a trailer recently.
Oh wow, that's a humongous achievement.
That's I watched the Us trailer, right? The film by Jordan Peele.
It's a great trailer.
Because it's the worst trailer I've ever seen.
It's a great trailer.
It gives away everything. Jesus Christ.
It does not give away anything. What are you talking about?
So much.
What that there's a different like parallel world? That's not a fucking spoiler. That's what the movie is about.
We saw a different one, but it showed so many.
You watched an analysis of the ending.
No, but
this thing gives away everything.
I want to watch this with a friend of mine, and I said, she said, "All right, let me watch the trailer first," because she's not a big horror fan. So she watched the trailer, and watching the trailer, I realized there are like so many scenes from the ending, from like the last 20 minutes of the film. I don't know. Felt very off, and there's one Gabe. special scene that it just shows.
You know what you're looking for if you know what the movie is going.
I know, but when you see the trailer, and you see all those scenes, and you're like an hour in, and you're like, all right, none of these scenes have come up. You kind of know what's about to happen, right? And I think the cool thing is, I went into Us without any idea what it's about, and that made it so cool. Just kind of all these pieces coming together, and all right, that's because of that, and that has got a connection to the beginning. I think that makes it way better.
I think it's always a balancing thing. I sometimes need to know what the movie is about in order, because then otherwise I'm sitting in there for like 30 minutes like, okay, that's very interesting, but what is this movie actually about?
Well, but it very soon become you kind of very soon realize what it's about, and kind of piecing it together is, I think, half the fun of the film. Anyway, sorry, this is a Christmas special. And check out Us, great horror film, but all right.
Yeah, don't watch the trailer. apparently.
Don't watch the trailer. Just watch the film. It's on Amazon Prime for free.
I love the trailer, man. I thought it was a good trailer. I'm going to have to watch this again.
All right, The Night Before. Night Before is a film with...
The Night Of. Isn't it the night? Oh, no, sorry. The night before.
In the leading roles, you got Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Seth Rogen, and Anthony Mackie. And you also got
Michael
others.
Shannon.
You have so many. Yeah, you got Michael Shannon, but you got so many cameos in this film, especially towards the end, which I don't want to give away. But the whole premise of the film is that Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, his family died right around Christmas a couple of years ago, and ever since then, him and his friends have this Christmas tradition of just getting absolutely drunk and just go about town having fun, go to karaoke and other stuff. And there's always this party going on around Christmas that they want to go to, but they never manage to get an invite. It's this very special, exclusive thing. And then they decide this is going to be their last night. This is the last night they're going to do this over-the-top celebration of Christmas, getting drunk because one of them is now a famous football star, I think, and the other one's getting a family, so this is the last year. On this last year, they managed to get an invite to this party. And the night before is just them doing the usual Christmas shit and then trying to get to the party. And Seth Rogen's character, who's now got a family, his wife's like, all right, this is going to be your last year, have fun. She gives him this little box full of drugs. Just pretty much every drug is in there. And this film is just a perfect film for people who've just grown up and maybe don't celebrate Christmas like they used to, or I don't know, just aren't in the classic Christmas spirit. I think it's perfect for that audience, and I think that's why I enjoyed it so much. Because there's so many films, and although they're good films like Miracle on 34th Street and others, but I don't know, it's always just Santa this and I don't know that, and let's, I don't know, sing Christmas songs, but it's just what I want to do for Christmas. Getting shit-faced, you know?
Sure.
Shout out to my grandparents.
Are they listening to this? Good. Hello.
No. Right, but I think it's just perfect for that, and I think we just had, or at least I had, I enjoyed the
movie. I enjoyed the movie, and I vividly remember us going to that movie, and I got a picture of us as well, because there was this beautiful, obviously in the first district of Vienna, the Christmas lights.
Right.
Very beautiful.
Right, it was that night, yeah.
And actually the night before, that's a great pun, I met up with a friend, someone that you know. Do you remember what happened the night before?
I'm not sure. Did we have a little talk before the movie then?
Yes.
Yeah, I do think I remember.
Yeah, that was a great night I had before. So that's I didn't even think about that. I had a great night before. I watched the night before. Whatever. It's not gonna. It didn't make my list, but I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, if
Have
you're
you
not
watched it since?
I've watched it twice.
Okay.
I watched it a couple of weeks after we first saw it.
Yeah.
I saw it with my brothers. Jesus Christ, it's a hard word. With my
really
brothers.
isn't.
Yeah, it really isn't. It really shouldn't be. I blame my swollen
wisdom
gums.
Yeah.
My
Sure.
wisdom teeth shit
Yeah.
on it. Whatever. I watched it with my brothers, and it wasn't as funny because I'd just seen it a couple of weeks or months before, and then those kind of jokes that slowly get revealed aren't as funny, you know, like with that dinner scene.
Sure.
But it's been a couple of years since then, and I enjoyed it so much. I was scared of watching it again. I was like, all right, this is not going to be as funny as it was. And I looked at my Letterboxd account, right, when I had logged it.
Sure.
And I looked at it and I'm like, all right, the first time I saw it, I gave it an 8, right? And then the second time I gave it a 6.
Right.
And I'm right back at an 8. Back at an 8.
Okay.
I think it's just, too little time had passed.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, check it out.
My 6, I don't think you've seen, and we're at this point of the show where it's time for my hidden gem of the week.
Let's go.
Which is The Ref. Have you seen The Ref?
This caught me very much caught me off guard. No idea what the fuck The Ref is. How do you write this?
Well,
REF?
REF. I believe in German it is called No Panic, which is one of the great translations of recent years. Well, it's not even that recent. It's called No Panic. Gute Geiseln sind selten.
All right. Yeah.
Great hostages are rare.
I think I've seen this a long time ago.
Really?
The film debut of J.K. Simmons. Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, I think when I was a kid at some point.
Well, do you remember anything about it?
Nothing.
Okay.
Just looking at it, these pictures seem so familiar to me.
Well, the stars Kevin Spacey, and maybe we shouldn't talk about him. Yeah, disclaimer. I'm just gonna separate art from private life, right? What's the phrase? I'm gonna art from
the artist.
Right. So that's all I'm gonna say about it. And the ref, it's I mean, it's such a smart and dark and sharp screenplay. And I had to laugh out loud so many times because it's just so funny. It's about Kevin Spacey and his wife. I'm going to look this up right now. Judy Davis. And they're in a very dysfunctional relationship. It starts off with them being at a couples therapist. What's the word? Is that right? Just talking.
Couple therapist, yeah.
Right. And just openly talking about everything. And she's so unhappy about it, about him and the whole relationship, and he doesn't want to be there, and he just wants them to talk about it like at home, and typical like story in that way. And then on their way home, there's like a burglary going on. Dennis Leary, played by Dennis Leary, the burglar, and he's on the run because he's almost caught, and then he not kidnaps, but he sort of then
takes them hostage.
Right, it's well put. Yeah, but they're like at a grocery store with the car on their way back from the therapist, and there he's sort of them taking them hostage there, and gets in the car with them and tells them to drive home because there's a police search going on. And he's telling them to sort of hide him at their home, and it's just it's got suspension of disbelief because the way they interact with a guy who points a gun at them is very unrealistic because they're just like cracking jokes and just keep on bickering at each other. They just keep fighting and talking about their marital issues instead of like being worried about the guy who has a gun at their head or whatever. But it's so funny because when he gets in the car, they start like fighting, and Dennis Leary's reaction is like, "Oh God, I kidnapped my parents" or whatever. And then it's got their son who's sort of also coming back for Christmas, and their family who they absolutely hate, including the mom who is great. And I mean, the great thing is that then sort of Dennis Leary empathizes with the character, or with the family, with the son, because he obviously with the son. Because the son is also like a rebel, and he obviously he connects with him because he had the same like difficult parents, but then he also is like interested, or not interested, but then he's sort of caught up in the marital issues as well, and is sort of helping out there a little bit as well. And then the family is coming over, and then he pretends to be one of the family members, or like he pretends to be the therapist because he can't like take every one of them hostage. And J.K. Simmons is then there. It's just such a smart and funny movie, and I love the premise. The way that it's got like this anti-hero character of the burglar, Dennis Leary, who is the bad guy, but is never really portrayed to be one. And you kind of like him more than the two family, like more than the husband and wife, because they just they're very they're at it at each other the whole time.
Dude, that's funny. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of this film at all, I guess.
And it's the mother is played by Glynis Johns, and it's so funny to me because I watched another movie. It was While You Were Sleeping, and she plays the grandmother in that movie. And those two movies came out like a year apart. Mm-hmm. And I was like, when I watched the movie, I was like, I know this person. I just saw her in another movie. It's like, what are the odds of that? Plays two completely different characters, but in The Ref, she's just so fantastic as this mother who is sort of so controlling over her son. And then there's this one great scene where Kevin Spacey just has enough, and he's literally like, Mom, can you for once just shut the fuck up? Such a bigger. All right. That's my 6. Watch this movie. It is great. It's called The Ref.
Dude, interesting. All right. Well, from your more out of the box pick, I'm going to go back to more of a classic.
Right.
And before I say what the actual film is, there can't be a Christmas film list or any kind of Christmas list without mentioning A Christmas Carol, written by Charles Dickens. It's like the Christmas story, right? With Mr. Scrooge and meeting the 3 ghosts of Christmas, right? But there's so many fucking adaptations of that story. So the question is which adaptation to pick. And I picked The Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah, that's supposed to be very good. I haven't seen it.
It is amazing, to be honest. And we saw this in school, and when I was like, I don't know, 14 or something like that, 13. It was right around Christmas time, and I think it was shortly before Christmas holidays, and our teacher was like, all right, let's just watch this movie, right? And it's honestly great. It's got Michael Caine as Mr. Scrooge, and it's got all the classic Christmas elements and of the Christmas Carol story, right? And all the Muppet elements, because the original Muppets, of course, are by of course I forget his name right
Jim
now.
Henson.
Henson, thank you, Jim Henson. And sadly, he passed away before this film was made. And Jim Henson was, of course, the genius behind Dark Crystal and The Labyrinth. So he's very much the genius behind all of those puppets, right? And they made this film with a mixture of course, human characters and Muppets. And I think everybody knows the Muppets with like Kermit the Frog and his wife Piggy, Miss Piggy, and other characters. And they all have a part in this film. So Mr. Scrooge is played by Michael Caine as a real-life actor. But then, of course, like Kermit the Frog plays his employee, whose son is Tiny Tim. And it is narrated by a Muppet claiming to be Charles Dickens himself. And he is going along streets, and one of his friends, a rat, I forgot his Muppet name, goes like, well, how can you be Charles Dickens, right? I don't believe you. Well, of course I have to be Charles Dickens because I know every beat of the story. And so they kind of follow Michael Caine along. And while they follow him, Charles Dickens explains the story. And it's, yeah, I mean, the Christmas Carol, I think everybody knows what it's about. It's about Mr. Scrooge, a businessman who's just hates Christmas and hates pretty much everybody. And he's just a shrewd businessman and just the most unlikable person ever, pretty much. And one of his business partners dies. That's how the story opens. His business partner, Marley, dies, and now he's all alone. And at night, he's visited by his ghost, telling him if he doesn't change, he's gonna go to the same place he did. Kind of purgatory or something like that. And the only way to change is to first meet those Christmas spirits. And first, so he meets the ghost of Christmas past, and then the ghost of Christmas present, and then, of course, the ghost of Christmas yet to come. And I've read somewhere, I hope this is true, that this was Michael Caine's favorite experience filming something. And I believe it. And you just see how much fun everybody kind of has on this set with the Muppets and the real people. And watching other adaptations of this story, I just realized how many parts of the story are just word for word translated into the script, which is so great because it's got this classic Muppet humor, of course, which I might be too old to enjoy, but I'm not. I don't know.
I was never able to connect with the Muppets.
Yeah.
No, even though I watched the Muppets, like the movie The Muppets in theaters, 2011 when that came out.
Which one is that?
Amy Adams.
Really?
Jason Segel.
Amy Adams is in the Muppets?
Yeah.
How did I not notice? Or how did I forget? Yeah, sorry.
I was just never able to connect with them. It's just nothing I will ever watch. I'm sorry. I'm not denigrating your pick. I haven't seen it, but I will never seek out a Muppet movie. It's just not
I
for
thought
me.
I was over it as well, you know. I used to enjoy them when I was a kid, like the Muppets, Treasure Island and others. And I was like, all right, Christmas Carol, there's so many adaptations. Let's watch 2 or 3 of them for this special. And I was surprised of how much I still enjoyed it. And it's so good. I know, just the Muppet humor is just its own kind of thing. And you either love it or hate it, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a Disney production, so you can see it on Disney Plus for free. And I think it's worth checking out. I think it's great if you have a kid, and it's great if you're older as well.
Yeah. Is there something you want to tell us, Gabe?
I'm a kid at heart, you know.
Oh, sure.
Who hates Christmas?
Sure. We got to move on. We're way ahead of,
behind time, yeah.
Behind time.
What's your number 5?
My 5 is It's a Wonderful Life, which was your 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm surprised that you saw this. Have you seen this recently?
I've seen this yesterday.
Okay, there we go.
Technically, still today.
Thank you for that information.
Yeah, you gotta have all the facts.
Thank you very much. This, for me, is one of those classics that has every right to be one. And you can watch that today, and it's still great. That's just my opinion. That sounded so like sassy. That's just my opinion, you know. I would encourage people not to watch the trailer and just not be put off by the fact that it came out years and years ago. Not to be put off by the fact that it's black and white. There's a colored version. I would recommend the black and white version. Mm-hmm. Seek it out. It is a beautiful story about a guy who, first of all, as you said, it's not really about Christmas. It's just set during Christmas. It lasts like 30 minutes. I absolutely agree. Because when I watched the movie for the first time, I was like, why is this a Christmas movie? For the first 1.5 hours. Like, why is this a Christmas special? Christmas classic. But it's about a guy who sort of didn't get to do what he wanted to do in life. He had to take over a business and forget about his dreams of what he actually wanted to do. And then he's very desperate, thinks about ending his life, and then he is shown the world how it would be if he never existed. Is that about right?
Yeah, well, yeah, it opens with a lot of shots
Angels.
of different houses, and they all pray for him, like, he's in a dark place, please help him. And then you see the stars kind of twinkling as if they were talking. And
right, it's Clarence, right?
Yeah, Clarence the angel, and tell him that he should go down to earth and help him see the good in life. And if he does it, he finally gets his wings. Right. Which is also one of those classic stories which I wasn't sure where it came from. There are like so many adaptations of this and so many like spoofs of this, and like, I don't know, that 70s show and other like Christmas specials and shows. Yeah. And I was never sure where this came from.
Yeah. I mean, this movie came out in 1946 as well. Mm-hmm. So we have 2 movies from the 40s here. We're very contemporary here. It's a Wonderful Life. It stars Jimmy Stewart, who one of the great actors of all time. He's been in so many great movies.
Yeah, I just noticed in how many things he was actually in when I watched this film.
He's incredible, dude. And he's George Bailey, and it's a movie, I think it's set in Bedford Falls, if I remember correctly.
Dude. Yeah.
And it's just a story that, please seek it out. If a lot of people will have heard about this movie, but maybe not have watched it because of various reasons, and I get that, but I would encourage people to watch it instead of those reasons, or regardless of those reasons.
Yeah, it's got some very 1940s
dialogue.
Yeah, and things that they do, like, you know, the fainting woman,
right,
and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, that's my 5.
Yeah, dude. I would have loved to pick it higher just from how good the film was, but I didn't see it as like the Christmas film.
I completely understand that.
All right. Well, that was your number 5. All right. So my number 4. I had this pick higher. I talked to Flo about this before we started. I had this pick higher, and I think I should put it even lower, I guess, because I
have the same issue with my 4 spot. This is very funny, yeah.
Because I was like, all right, I have such good memories of this film, right? It's such a classic. But then I looked up what I last rated it, and it wasn't as high, because then I remembered the last time I actually watched it, I was a little disappointed. It was different than I remembered.
Okay.
And I keep forgetting that because I watched it as a kid and was one of my favorite movies as a kid.
Okay.
But I guess it doesn't hold up, and it's Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the movie that I expected you to have on your list. This is the movie that I'm actually surprised it is that low, and I have not seen it. I thought about watching this. I am not a Tim Burton fan. I watched the trailer for this, and I was like, please be honest. I got to be honest with myself here. I accept the fact that everyone loves this. I haven't seen it, so I'm not allowed to have an opinion on this, but I don't think this has any chance of making my list.
Well, I think you should definitely check it out.
Yeah, I even the trailer scared me off.
The funny thing is, it's always like the Tim Burton film, and if somebody asked you what's your favorite Tim Burton film, there's like often one of the top 3 picks they're gonna tell you.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, Tim Burton is not the director of this film. Tim Burton produced and wrote it, but he didn't direct it. So,
see,
a big difference.
I just stepped into that trap, didn't I?
Yeah.
Who
I
directed
mean,
it?
it does say I think a Tim Burton film since he produced it.
That's very right.
Sorry.
Henry Selick.
Yeah, and like I said, he wrote it, but I don't even think he wrote it by himself. So while everybody kind of says it's the Tim Burton film, yeah, depends on what you say about films. I mean, the film is not just the director's work; it's a collaboration of many people. But yeah. Anyway, I remember loving this film, and my mom brought back the VHS tape from the US when my mom spent some time in the US at some point before I was born, and she brought back the tape because the film came out, I think, in 93.
Yes.
And she came back and she brought back with a whole lot of other VHS tapes, and they were all in English. And, well, I'm from Austria. I didn't speak English at that time. But I remember just loving this film. My mom only allowed me to watch this film once or twice a year, either on Halloween and on Christmas, because I always want to watch this fucking film. Otherwise, we would have watched nothing else. And I loved it. I didn't understand a word of it until years later.
Yeah.
This also included A Land Before Time.
Did you sing along, though, even though you didn't understand a word?
I probably hummed along.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I watched it years later and I still loved it. And then I watched it again, finally, like last year or the year before as an adult, years later. And it's different than I remembered. Like, the story isn't as good. Some of the jokes fell flat for me. I think the not animation, stop motion, it's just great. But like the story, especially I think towards the end, now that I think about the last time I watched it, weren't as good as I remembered. It's still a good film, and it's just so well made. It just didn't live up to the hype I had in my head.
Yeah.
And I think it definitely has to be on my list. I'm just not sure where to put it. I had it at my number 2 spot just from the pure nostalgia in my head. But now thinking about it, I think it should be, I don't know, maybe lower. It was a snap decision. I think it does kind of still belong on my list. Maybe a little high. Just, I'm
Jesus
losing my
Christ,
voice.
what is happening?
I don't know. Okay, let me take a sip of water.
Did the wisdom tooth just come out with that?
Mm-hmm. Okay, just completely lost my voice. I'm sorry about that. I think it still should be higher on my list, maybe because of just how much it means to me. But I don't know. It's a struggle of what it means to me and how good I actually think it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, that's my number 4. Oh, maybe I should tell you what the film is about if you don't know. Like, yeah, it's stop motion, and it's about a Halloween world with I forgot his name. I'm so sorry. The main protagonist, who you've seen on many
Jack Skellington.
Jack Skellington. A lot of emos have like Jack Skellington somewhere on their clothes. I've seen so many like tattoos and like people like wearing merchandise from this fucking film. But yeah, they live in this Halloween kind of world where every day is Halloween, I guess. And then he finds a couple of doors somewhere in the woods, and one of them leads to a Easter world, one of to a Christmas world, and etc. Thanksgiving. He doesn't really visit all of them, but he then goes to the Christmas one because he's so done with Halloween, and then he tries to bring Christmas to the Halloween world and see, well, those kind of words don't really mix, you know? And it's interesting, just from a filmmaking standpoint, I think, if you're interested in that, just how the film was made.
It's a classic.
Beautifully
made,
yeah.
It's a classic, right?
And it's got some cool songs in there.
Yeah.
Which I think everybody's heard by now.
I listened to a couple of them, when I researched this movie, but even they didn't really entice me.
Well, I think it should be seen at least once, this film, and please go check it out. I think it's also on Disney Plus, I think. Pretty sure.
Okay.
Maybe on Netflix. I don't want to promise anything, but yeah, do check it out.
Yeah. Well, my 4 is, I also struggled to put this high on the list, but that's where it ended up, and I was like, okay, I got to go with it. You're not going to have this on your list. And by the way, I'm very excited to hear your top 3, because we might have the same 3. I don't know.
No.
Well, we might have
2. I think 2 are similar.
2 out of 3, yeah. My 4 is The Holiday.
All right.
Have you seen that?
I watched it like a week ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no?
I absolutely hated it.
Okay, yeah, it's not a surprise to me.
Sorry.
I mean, I'm going to stop. I'm not even surprised anymore. I think this is
We have very different tastes. That's all right.
Well, but that's a Nancy Meyers film as well. And you love
I know.
Julie and Julia and stuff. And it's the same thing.
That's why I want to check it out as well. But I don't know. Yeah, well, you go ahead.
For me, this is one of those, I don't know, like I guess a guilty pleasure would define it. With, my gosh, Kate Winslet, Jack Black, Cameron Diaz, and Jude Law, and them sort of Cameron Diaz and Kate Winslet trading up houses for like the Christmas time because they're both sad and they need a change in their lives, and then they sort of switch houses and basically lives because they get to meet like the people who are usually around them. They sort of obviously switch as well, and yeah, a lot of people are falling in love in that movie, and it's sweet and it's fun, and I think it's very charming, that movie. And I think Jack Black is great in that movie. I like Jude Law as well, and I think once again, I think the two relationships that are sort of built throughout that movie are again believable. And this is not really a funny movie. I don't think it's more like I was going to say rom-com, but like a romance straight through and through. And yeah, I like the little charming English house that Kate Winslet owns a lot. I would like to be there. And
I bet it's more expensive than the ultra luxurious apartment
I don't think so.
Cameron Diaz owns. Well, those old houses.
By the way, I love
worth a lot.
I love the side story of Arthur Abbott, the old screenwriter.
Favorite part of the film.
It's great. And the whole relationship he has with Kate Winslet and then Jack Black as well.
That's so sweet, yeah.
And them going to the video store and Jack Black being a music composer or film composer, then sort of like telling Kate Winslet about all those movies and humming the soundtrack and also screaming the soundtrack. I genuinely don't understand how one can hate that movie, but we're so far into this episode and we have so much to talk about. We need to move on. So what's your 3?
I don't want to be this negative. My number 3 is definitely not going to be on your list because it's once again a Christmas episode from a show, and it's the Futurama Xmas episode. Silence. All right. Futurama is one of my favorite cartoon shows of all time. No questions asked. Well, maybe. There are a lot of great shows out there, but it's like one of the shows that I watched when I was a kid, and that's how I kind of learned English. Because my brothers watched Futurama and I had to kind of go along with them watching in English at some point. And that helped me out quite a bit. And Futurama is, like I said, one of my favorite shows, and it's got such a different approach to things like Christmas. I say Futurama is about one guy who got frozen in the year 2000 and then ends up in the year 3000 in the future. And he meets people there and everything has changed. And he wants to celebrate Christmas, because now he's in the future, but he still wants that Christmas feeling. And they explain to him that, well, Christmas doesn't really exist in that way anymore. Like, there are no longer pine trees, and there isn't... Well, Santa has kind of gotten a new meaning because scientists try to develop a Santa Claus, a robotic Santa Claus who brings presents to everyone. But they kind of overdid it with his naughty and nice kind of censors, so he just judges everybody naughty for the stupidest things. And then he goes around Christmas and tries to kill everybody. So everybody just blockades themselves in, barricades himself during Christmas and tries not to get killed. And yeah, Fry,
you're talking
the guy
so fast right now. I genuinely am not following anything. And by the way, Nancy Meyers, who did The Holiday, did not do Julie and Julia. That was completely wrong. I knew it. I looked it up. That's Nora Ephron.
All right.
Nancy Meyers did It's Complicated, Something's Gotta Give, The Holiday, The Intern, Father of the Bride. Anyway.
So yeah, and Fry, the guy who gets frozen, tries to do something nice for his colleagues. And yeah, Futurama is just one of the greatest shows out there. And I think it's just such a funny approach to Christmas to show it in a different way with like Santa trying to kill everybody. And if you like cartoons and if you like Futurama, do check it out. I think it's in season 2. It's one of my favorite Christmas episodes ever. Yeah. So that's my number 3 pick. What's yours?
My 3 is Home Alone.
This is not on my list.
Wow. You don't
It's one
like
of
that
those
movie?
Christmas specials or Christmas classics that I'm not a fan of.
Why? How can you not like Home Alone?
I liked it when I was a kid. Just I don't know. I don't have that much fun with it anymore. I don't know. I feel a little bored.
This is genuinely probably the number one spot if it's like Christmas classics for me.
Mhm.
I don't think I've watched a movie more like during Christmas time than Home Alone. And everyone who's listening to this has watched Home Alone and loves Home Alone. I think you're the only person who does not enjoy that movie anymore. I could watch that forever, and it's so memorable, and so many scenes are imprinted in my memory, like the guy who imprints his foot with a nail in the basement. It's a nice little pun out there for you. But I don't need to. I mean, Home Alone. I haven't seen the second one in years. I don't really remember that at all. I think that's the one with Trump in it, right?
Yeah, that's the only thing that I've heard about this film.
Yeah, and it's in New York, right?
Yeah.
Kevin Alone in New York. It's the German title in sort of English way. But yeah, Home Alone. I mean, Kevin McAllister being left alone at home and has to defend himself against two very weird and, in a weird way, charming imposters as well. I mean, Joe Pesci and the guy who's not Chris Elliott. Everyone thinks it's Chris Elliott, but it's not. What's his name? What's his real name?
No idea.
Home Alone. Daniel Stern as Marv, right? Harry and Marv. That's the two thieves. But I mean, just that scene of them, like him delivering the pizza as well, the pizza delivery guy, and then he leaves the money and plays the movie.
The show, yeah.
I always thought that was a real movie, but apparently it isn't. The one he plays on TV.
Oh, I thought so as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's a classic and it's fantastic. What's your... So you're going?
I think you should definitely check it out. Even if I am not a huge fan of it anymore, I think you should just check it out just to get all the references. Yeah, probably. But there's so many references. Also, Night Before, there are references to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The classic. All right.
What's your two?
I think my number two and one are going to be the same for you.
I don't think so, but we'll see.
All right. My number two is Die Hard.
Not on my list.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, Die Hard is...
That is too hipster a pick for me.
Fair enough. But yeah, Die Hard is an action film. And I think everybody knows it. But
what a great summary.
Maybe if you haven't seen the film, you wouldn't realize this is a Christmas film. And maybe it's not. It's more of an ongoing joke, right? Like,
I'm
what's
surprised.
the best Christmas
Why is it
film?
your number two then?
My number two is because I just enjoyed so much this film. And I think it's just an unofficial Christmas classic, and I enjoyed a whole lot. And I'm not a huge fan of action films,
I was going to say,
I still enjoyed.
How do you enjoy that movie? I thought this was like one of those movies that you had no fun with.
No, there are like a handful of action films out there, and that I enjoy. This is one of them, and also one of the reasons that I picked it so high is as a person who is not that much into Christmas anymore, I guess, and maybe all those films with like Santa Claus and everything like that, I can't relate to as much anymore.
Sure.
But for those people who still want to watch like a Christmas film, or if somebody says, all right, let's watch a Christmas film, you're going to say Die Hard. Because Die Hard it's an action film, but it's got a whole lot of humor in it, with Bruce Willis just playing this over-the-top cop who tries to defend himself in a skyscraper. A bit, you know. Don't you think so?
I think it's
not
great
serious.
because he's not. Well, it's not serious. I agree. I think
it's not
just
stupid, but it's got this perfect kind of in between, because I love those 90s action films. You got this over the top action guys who have nothing but one-liners, and then
those are the great ones. We're talking about
I don't like
the Arnie
those,
movies.
Yeah,
got to do a top 10 on
example.
Arnold for once.
At one
for
point,
once,
yeah,
one
sure.
point.
But yeah, it's about Bruce Willis trying to defend himself in a skyscraper full of German terrorists who've taken hostages.
Yeah,
during a Christmas party. And yeah, I think everybody knows what Die Hard is about in its core. It's John McClane killing people. And I'm so surprised always when I see these older films and to see how violent they are.
Yeah.
There's so much blood going on
Sure.
there. But I think it's just a well-made action film, and I love everything about it except for the very last scene. I think it doesn't quite fit.
Where she punches the journalist?
No, even a little before that or after that, when they walk out and then somebody takes off their blanket, you know? kind of reveals something.
Right.
You get that last action scene.
Right,
I think that
right.
was very unnecessary.
I agree.
And
agree.
Other than that, yeah, it's just a fun film, and you got Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber,
Yeah.
one of the most classic villains
Yes.
in movie history. Go check it out.
I mean, there is a debate going on if this is a Christmas movie, and I side with you. I think it is one. I mean, you could define any movie as a Christmas movie if you wanted to. I'm never going to say like that's not a Christmas movie. If you think it's a Christmas movie, then it's a Christmas movie for you. But for me, it's not a Christmas movie. That's very difficult now to. I would. I agree that it is a Christmas movie for some people, but for me, it isn't. Does that make sense? I never watch Die Hard at Christmas. It's not like, oh yes, it's my time of year. It's Christmas. Let's watch Die Hard. No, I'll watch other movies. That's why I had it on my number 10 spot, but then it just got pushed off. But I agree with the fact that it's a Christmas movie. It's just not one that I watch every year at Christmas, even though I like the series a lot. And also, I think the first one, I don't love the first one as much as the third one.
Yeah, all right. The first and the third are definitely the best.
Yeah, I love the fourth and the fifth one. The fifth one is my Christmas classic.
I've seen 1, 2, 3, and 4, but never 5, and I want to keep it this way. All right.
Yeah.
Must have been a great experience.
Yeah, it was great.
All right.
My 2 is Jingle All the Way. I'm just kidding. That's an Arnold Schwarzenegger film. That's on an honorable list, though. Jingle All the Way. Have you seen that?
I wanted to rewatch this. Yeah, I loved it as a kid.
Put the cookie down.
with the action figure, right?
Yeah, Hans Turbo Man.
Mm-hmm.
My 2 is one of my favorite movies of all time, and this is one that is not about Christmas at all, but it is set during Christmas, and it's Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
All right, I debated rewatching this film because is this a Christmas film? So I don't know. And then I decided against it. But yeah.
Well, it is a Christmas film as much as It's a Wonderful Life.
I guess so. Yeah.
No, that's not even a guess, my man. They're basically both not about Christmas, but they're set during Christmas.
Maybe more like Die Hard, but yeah.
Well,
I
no.
guess.
What do you mean? It's a Wonderful Life also is not about Christmas.
Yeah.
Your point.
Right.
Your point.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, I think it would have been on my list if. I think it's just the same argument you just gave with Die Hard. It could be a Christmas film, just I didn't see it that way.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's fair. I love this movie. I unequivocally love that movie. And it would have made my number 1 spot in many other lists, but there's one that's better. But Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, a Shane Black movie. A lot of Shane Black movies are set during Christmas, by the way. Apparently Lethal Weapon as well. Yep. And apparently...
Which one?
I don't know.
First one?
I have no idea. I just read that it is set during Christmas.
Sure.
And I've read that a lot of Shane Black movies are set during Christmas. But Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, also like if you remember Michelle Monaghan in that Christmas outfit in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
I've seen this film once, and that was like 5 years ago with you.
Yeah. For me, this is like, it's a perfect movie, like for the first 60 minutes or so. I don't think the second half is as good as the first, but it's still fantastic. It's Robert Downey Jr., Val Kilmer, Michelle Monaghan, who I think is one of the most beautiful people in that movie, like ever, but in that movie. I think she's just gorgeous in that movie. And yeah, it's such a complex story. It is such a complex story. I feel like I'm finally now grasping what it, like I can maybe now recite. I rewatched it as well, but I'm now able to recite the story, I think, after my like 4th or 5th watch. But Downey Jr. is a thief who then flees from the cops and runs into an audition room where because he's so desperate because his friend in real life just got shot, and the part he's reading is also about a guy who just lost a friend. So he's just reading those lines with the real emotions that he's feeling, and everyone loves him. Then he's sort of hired then he's flown out to LA for a callback. Then there's a Christmas party. Then he teams up with Val Kilmer, who's a consultant and an investigator, and he then sort of has to follow him around in order to prepare for the movie role. Then while they're investigating, they're discovering a murder plot. Then he meets Michelle Monaghan, which is one of his old friends. She loses someone. I mean, don't want to go on, but it's such a complex story. But it is it's got such a unique tone and such a unique style. It's just so good, and I love it.
I remember liking the film when you showed it to me, but like you just kind of explained, the story is so complex that I kind of forgot what it was even about.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I would know nothing about this movie if it was like 5 years or however long it's been. I need a refresh like once a year. But just the way that it's done, like with also like the narrator, Downey Jr. just talks to us and he's like, I hate this thing when it happens in movies when they just like show this scene that makes no sense. Why was this just in the movie? Oh, wait a minute, I have to go back. Oh, now I sound like my dad. I'm telling a joke, but then I have to go back. I have to set up the punchline again. All right, here we go again. Does anyone listen to this? He's just having a lot of fun with the medium, Jane Black, and throughout that movie, the narration and looking into the camera at the end and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's a fun outside the box kind of pick.
Yeah, and it's set during Christmas, and Michelle Monaghan is running around in a Christmas outfit, and that's basically all the Christmas it is. It's not really much more than that, but it's got Christmas in it, so it needed to be on my list.
All right. Well, I think now our best thing pick is definitely going to be the same.
Yes.
And yeah. The best
joke?
thing that we've seen, I don't know.
Expecting a joke, I don't know. Well,
Christmas Chronicles, I don't know.
Sure. Oh, yeah. I haven't seen it.
Me neither. All right. Well, the best thing that I've seen, Christmas related, I guess, is Love Actually. And I think it's going to be the same for you.
Yes.
All right. Well, we watched this film together many years ago now, I guess.
Yeah, in theaters.
Yeah, because every time around Christmas, it plays Love Actually. And I always saw this as like one of those kind of romantic kind of comedies one of those classics, I guess.
Yeah.
But never knew exactly why. But we both walked out of that cinema in love with this film, I think.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what it plays around Christmas, and it's about different stories, different people, and all those stories kind of intertwining with each other. One about Hugh Grant playing the Prime Minister of England, and another about Alan Rickman and his trouble with his wife and him contemplating if he should cheat on her.
Yeah, your 2 and 1 both have Alan Rickman in it.
Yeah, fair.
The Christmas guy.
And yeah, there are just so many funny scenes also with an actor whose name I always forget, and I'm so sorry.
Colin
and I think
Firth?
No, this happens, I guess, so many times with this guy, and he's just referred to as the Mr. Bean guy.
Rowan Atkinson.
Rowan Atkinson. Thank you so much. He's got a great scene in this film.
Yeah, too.
But yeah, thank you for mentioning Colin Firth. I think that's one of my favorite parts of this whole Christmas story. It's just so sweet about him trying to write a book and then going to Portugal and then kind of falling in love with his housekeeper who doesn't speak a word of English and he doesn't speak a word of Portuguese.
Yeah.
I think it's Portuguese, right?
The house, it is Portuguese, but is the house in Portugal?
Yeah, it isn't, right? It is, right?
I was a bit confused by that. I mean, she's definitely Portuguese, but he starts off talking French to her. But then the person who sort of, yeah.
I think it's just because he's so nervous.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because
she's definitely Portuguese, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Aurelia.
It is one of those Christmas classics who really deserves the title, just because it's such a feel-good movie.
Well,
and
not
always,
definitely not, but yeah.
And I think the Keira Knightley scene with all the cards written on them, this has been spoofed so many times, and for good reason, scene? Just because it's so sweet. Yeah, I do like it.
Yeah.
Do you?
I do as well. A lot of people are like, he's such an asshole doing that to his best friend.
I guess, yeah.
I think
it's not a great thing to do, but he does it in a yeah.
He even says like enough now.
Yeah.
I rewatched this yesterday. I was like, I want to rewatch. I knew this was going to be my number one, and I rewatched this so many times. And every time I watch, it is genuinely, I believe, one of the best movies ever made. I'm just going to put that out there. I think it's, I would go as far as to say it's perfect. I love everything about this movie. I love Hugh Grant. I love him in everything, but the way he acts as the prime minister, the way he dances to that song, the way he interacts with Billy Bob Thornton as the American president, the way he interacts with Natalie, who he falls in love with instantly, and then him sort of like being ashamed of everything he does when he just like waves at her in a weird way, and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Emma Thompson who I believe, I'm not alone, but because I think also like Kit Harington says this, and then it must be true. I believe the scene where she receives the present from her husband and goes into the other room is one of the best, well, it's one of the most well-acted scenes ever.
It is amazing.
It is unbelievable with that music kicking in. My God, dude. I mean, I'm not a crier at movies, but I mean,
you are when you watch Love Actually.
I still am not, but I feel like I should be when I'm watching that. You know what I mean? that scene sort of deserves that. But I realized that now, like watching it yesterday, like the music in general is so good in that movie. The score, it just perfectly encapsulates the emotion that you're supposed to feel. I mean, it might be a bit cheap, so like telling you what to feel right now, but man, when the boy, we talked about him on Queen's Gambit, when Sam, when he's running through the airport, I mean, when the music, it's unbelievable, and it's so sweet. All he's doing that to get a kiss on the cheek, and then he's like the happiest guy on earth. Liam Neeson as his dad.
Yeah, there's so many great actors in this.
Yeah, you got Chiwetel Ejiofor as Keira Knightley's husband. Who, by the way, Keira Knightley, she's like 18 in that movie. I don't know what she's doing, getting married, like, right? Very weird.
It's like Natalie Portman in one of her films, where she plays someone more adult, and she's also like, I think 16.
Yeah,
I forgot the film. But
we also Bowling Girl. I don't know.
Maybe.
Right.
We talked about this film before also because we talked about
Richard
Curtis, right? Because we talked about Time.
Yes.
And this just shows how great of a writer he is.
Yeah.
Just these awkward moments.
Director.
And director.
Oh, dude, the Martin Freeman scenes.
Yeah, dude.
I love that scene where he's like a stand-in for a porn movie. And they're like dry humping each other, and then he's like asking her out on a date, and he's like, "Oh, thanks. I'm usually so nervous doing this," when they're like humping each other naked.
Yeah, I mean, who thinks of things like that?
Right. That scene is so funny, dude. Where he's like, "Could you put your hands on her breasts and start massaging them?" It's like he's doing it. Yeah. The traffic was a nightmare getting here.
Yeah,
small talk in the most ridiculous scenarios.
Kind of warming in his hands before he does it, like a true gentleman.
Bill Nye as what's his name? The rock star.
The rock star, yeah.
Billy Mack.
Yeah.
Billy Mack singing
what was it?
Christmas All Around. Christmas All Around, yeah. Where he's doing like a new hit. So he's just changing one word, and love is it Love is All Around?
Yeah, I think Love is All Around Me, and I think he sings Love is All Around Us.
No,
sorry, Christmas is All Around Us, and he keeps getting it wrong.
Yeah, he keeps getting it wrong, yeah. His best friend, such a great guy. And he plays it so well, his manager. Then you got Laura Linney, her whole interaction with Carl from The Office. And I love the fact that she has this, I love the storyline with her brother who keeps calling her. And she always puts him first. Yeah. But that's the heartbreaking things I mean. It's not always like uplifting. I mean, those scenes, I mean, they are at times as well, but Emma Thompson's storyline. I mean, I could go on about this movie. I love it.
You also got Andrew Lincoln in this, who is probably most well known by now for his leading role in The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize he was British.
Yeah. I never watched The Walking Dead, but...
I used to love it, but yeah.
Isn't it still going on, or is it now like at the end? I don't know.
I don't know. I stopped watching after like season 4 or 5.
Yeah. Oh, we forgot the Colin, the guy who travels to America because he wants to get laid.
Yeah, he goes to the bar. Ah, dude, what a scene.
Yeah, that's the thing. Who would write this? Like,
yeah.
In any other movie, like he's like, "Oh, I want to go to America." All the girls are like, so much better there, and I can get laid there instantly. That's not happening. But Love Actually just goes there. Yeah, he meets 4 girls. All right, let's go.
It's just a feel-good Christmas film.
Oh, dude, it is so funny and so lighthearted in that storyline in particular.
And I think just films that films that do this kind of thing with different kind of stories intertwining can be quite boring, I think. But every story has got something different, and something. If you don't like that story, you're gonna love the other one.
Right.
And so I think you can watch this with anyone because you're gonna end up loving it either way.
Right.
I think.
And they eventually, like as you said, intertwined, which is smart writing again.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I love it.
What else can you say about Love Actually?
There was one thing. What was it now? Oh yeah, when he when he meets Aurelia, Colin Firth, at the end in the restaurant.
Yeah.
And he's like speaking broken Portuguese. I love the fact that he's like at the end, like, oh, you learned English, because she's a little bit of English, and she goes like, just in cases. It's such a throwaway line, because you see like him speaking Portuguese, and it's like subtitled the way that all the errors he makes. Like to him, it's very transparent when he's trying to say it. To him, it's clear. Such a, like, again, with the writing, like that's I assume a mistake that a lot of people make when they talk in a foreign language.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
I would do the same in French and in English sometimes as well, where I can't think of the word, but then I use like transparent instead of clear, because for me it sounds like the same thing, but it's not. And then she goes like, yeah, just in cases. I love that. Anyway, definitely the best thing I've seen Christmas related.
I wrote down like 10 films exactly, and I was like, all right, perfect. Now I just got to put them in order. It's going to be so hard. But it just came to me, and I was like, all right, there's no film on this list that could surpass Love Actually as a Christmas film or as a film in general.
Yeah. You got any honorables?
I thought about this. There's not a lot, I think. I think Arthur, maybe.
Arthur Christmas, yeah.
Yeah, I did like it, but I don't know. There's just so much out there. I couldn't think of much, to be honest. I tried to rewatch a couple of classics that I used to love as a kid, like Santa Claus, which I just couldn't finish. Jesus Christ,
Tim Allen movie.
Yeah, those special effects did not age well.
I remember liking that movie, but I haven't seen it in years.
Yeah, I think you're probably going to think the same thing when you're going to rewatch it. I'm not sure, to be honest. Is there anything on your list?
Yeah, I got quite a bit.
Let's go.
First of all, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles might
still
be an
missing that
omission,
one.
but that is not a Christmas movie. That is a Thanksgiving movie. So if we had done holiday movies, I would have included it. I've seen it like floating around on some Christmas movie lists, but I sort of excluded it because it's not about Christmas, but about Thanksgiving. Great movie.
All right.
Then I have Christmas Vacation. Honorables, gotta be. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, the Chevy Chase one. Have you seen that?
I have not, no.
Oh, that's a... I don't love it as much as everyone else, because I'm also not a big Chevy Chase fan. But it has some great scenes, especially with I think it's the grandma reciting the Pledge of Allegiance when she's supposed to say grace. Fantastic scene.
It's already funny.
Yeah. All right.
Sold.
I got Die Hard on my honorables. Then Better Watch Out, which is Home Alone for our generation. Check that out. That is on Netflix right now. It's a horror, not really a comedy, but don't watch the trailer. Don't watch the trailer. I'm not saying that to you because I know you won't. Don't watch the trailer. It's a great story about a kid who, I think a babysitter's coming over during the holidays, and then intruders or people, unexpected people are sort of trying to enter their home. And this movie takes turns that you will never expect if you don't watch the trailer. And it's great fun. It's sort of, and it's got Home Alone references too, like obvious ones. But it's a horror film as well, so it's gory. Then I have a Jingle All the Way. Gotta do it. Arnold chasing Turbo Man and telling people to put the cookie down.
I want to rewatch that, and then maybe it would have made probably just my honorables, to be honest. But
then we have Family Stone, which we talked about on the Rachel McAdams special. It wasn't going to make my list, but I just thought I'd mention it. And then things I wrote down here. See, that could be considered as Christmas movies, but I didn't, and apparently you didn't either. Eyes Wide Shut is a Christmas movie.
Is it?
Well, it's set during Christmas. A lot of Christmas trees in that movie.
Fair enough. All right, well...
That's the definition thing that I was talking about.
It's so hard. I mean, Die Hard is just generally acknowledged as a Christmas film as far as I've seen.
Right.
So I counted it as one as well. But also you got like that ho 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 joke in there.
Right.
But I get, fair enough, I guess. Yeah.
I don't consider it a Christmas movie. That's why I didn't pick it up. But great movie. Same thing with The Apartment, the Billy Wilder classic. Also set during Christmas time. I would never think of it as a Christmas movie. It came up when I Googled Christmas movies.
Yeah, I guess maybe a bit more, I guess.
Have you seen that?
Quite some time ago, but I watched it in German back then. I saw it on TV.
Right. Well, that's still the same. It's still Christmas, right?
I guess, yeah. But it's been such a long time that I didn't even remember that it was set during Christmas.
Yeah. And last thing, I mean, some TV episodes that weren't gonna make my list, but like there's a couple of Office Christmas specials. I remember fondly the bloopers of Kevin trying to sit on Steve Carell's lap.
Yeah.
I mean, I could watch those bloopers alone are worth a pick, but then again, it's just like a couple of minutes. I didn't want to put it on the list. There's some Friends episodes. Do you remember that Hot Christmas episode where the heater's broken and everyone's serving like ice cubes? Thought that was a funny episode. Yeah, but then I also wrote down a couple of things that I didn't get around to, and like, have you watched the newest Netflix thing, that Jingle Jangle?
Yeah, I want to mention this as well as one of the films that I did not get to watch. I was not sure if it was going to make my list, and there were so many other things that I wanted to watch, like It's a Wonderful Life. So I didn't get to watch it, sadly.
Not until today did I sort of realize that this movie existed. I've seen it like advertised all across the street as well.
Yeah, it seems kind of cool, and does have
you would hate
quite good reviews. Yeah, sure.
Well, it's got, yes, because I then looked up things, and I don't know, a lot of people seem to love it and a lot of people seem to hate it. It's very polarizing, but what I've heard, and there's a lot of clips on YouTube of the songs, because it's a musical, it's very Greatest Showman-y from the music. It very much is. So I was like, maybe I should have watched this, because I think I would have enjoyed it. But then again, the reviews from people that I trust weren't great. So I would have maybe watched it had I realized it existed earlier. But yeah.
I mainly want to watch it because of Forrest Whitaker, whom I'm a fan of.
Yeah, and he's singing too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Good for him,
and
I
Keegan-Michael Key.
All right.
Yeah. It looks great, the movie. It really looks very expensive, the sets, I thought, from what I saw. It looks very detailed and very homely.
There was also a film that I wanted to watch, but it's not actually a Christmas film. It's not about Christmas as far as I'm aware, but it's a classic Christmas film in Austria. Okay. And I'm going to say the German title because I think it's actually a film from the Czech Republic.
Okay.
Drei Haselnüsse für Aschenbrödel, which means
I don't know that movie.
I don't know how to fucking translate that. You
Hazelnuts?
hate that movie?
No, I haven't seen it.
So, right. Well, yeah, 3 hazelnuts for, but how do you translate
Aschenbrödel? I have no idea.
All right, but it's kind of a princess film, I guess, and it's a Christmas classic here in Austria, and also I think over in the Czech Republic and maybe Slovenia or something like that.
I've never heard of this. Tri Oriski pro Popelku?
Yeah.
3 Wishes for Cinderella is what it's called in America. I've never even heard of this.
I think my grandparents watch this pretty much every year for Christmas, and it
shout out to them again.
Yeah, it plays on TV in Austria every year.
Right. I have not seen this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I haven't seen it as well.
Last couple of things that I didn't get around to watching. Last Christmas, Netflix thing with Emilia Clarke. It's supposed to be pretty bad, but I'm interested in it because Emma Thompson's in it, who is fantastic. Have you seen this?
No, it's that and The Holiday, which I've seen all over Netflix
I haven't seen
the last couple of weeks, but they both seem like films that I wouldn't enjoy.
Yeah. Then you got Just Friends, the Ryan Reynolds, Amy Smart film, supposed to be set during Christmas. Well, it is, but and then Joyeux Noël, the French film of like the World War I story, the real life thing where they is it a truce?
Right. Yeah, that's
Christmas truce,
based on a real story. Because I think the real story is with the British and the German troops.
Okay, well, I think
in real life history. Maybe also it happened on the French front, but I just know about the English and the Germans who had a bit of a ceasefire all over the trenches in different locations, not related to each other even.
Right, that's supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah. And fun fact, apparently there was one German general who said, "No, let's not make a Christmas truce. Let's keep firing."
Okay,
and that general was Adolf fucking Hitler. That bastard.
Okay, and one thing, have you heard about the movie Happiest Season? It's supposed to be
wanted to
great.
watch it, with Kristen Stewart. I couldn't find it anywhere because I think it's only on Hulu, right?
Yeah. Well, it's on Amazon UK, but that doesn't do anything. I don't know why Amazon doesn't just publish it everywhere. I want to watch that movie.
Maybe it's like a rights thing, but I don't know.
It's supposed to be great. And I love Kristen Stewart and Mackenzie Davis.
I want to watch it as well. Too bad,
Yeah. So that's it. My gosh. Hopefully there was some interesting stuff for you there. Yeah.
And I think, like you said, it's going to come out on the 14th of December, so a lot of time for you to still watch a couple of Christmas things if you're in the mood.
Yeah.
And I think with that being said, have a Merry Christmas, right?
Yeah, well, we'll have another regular episode next week,
Mm-hmm.
which is the last one. Well, yeah, which is the last one before Christmas, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the
Right.
21st. We'll see what we can. Maybe we can watch Jingle Jangle. I don't know.
We'll see.
Probably not. But yeah, take care.
Alright.
Enjoy those movies and have happy holidays. I guess that's the best way to sign off, right?
Yeah, right. And as always, if you want to check us out on any other platforms, we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and you can also find us at Best Thing Radio on Instagram and Twitter. And you can also check out our cover art, which is going to be a special Christmas-themed cover art that Flo designs every week. You can find that as our thumbnail on YouTube, or you can check it out on Instagram or Twitter. And we would love a like, maybe a subscribe if you check out any of those movies. Maybe write us a comment what you thought about it. And yeah, happy holidays.
For sure. And if you discover a great film, then tell someone about it and tell someone about the podcast too. That would be great. That would be a great Christmas present to us.
And of course, thank you so much for sticking around till the very end of the episode.
Absolutely.
It means a lot to us. And yeah, thank you and have a great holiday.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.